as a health practitioner or health professional, because you are not always successful, you go and you learn more and more and more therapies. We are looking for the holy grail that just gives you the miracle pill and everything is done. And then at one stage you understand this is not happening.
Welcome to the Heal Differently mini-series with me, Richard Flook. I'm your host, and it is my great pleasure to have Christa Krahnert with me. She's obviously German, but she lives in Australia now. And we're going to be talking about a very, very challenging subject, cancer. And cancer is something that affects everybody. I believe, I don't know any one person that's not been affected by it, as far as, say, extended family. At some time, I personally have. I lost some loved ones through cancer, and even a mother-in-law very recently through a horrific cancer. And I wanted really to get Christa here to open up a can of worms about healing differently. And we're not going to be going down the normal avenue of saying, oh, it's all fluffy in the energetic world and everybody can heal anything in this energetic world. We wanted to really explore, what does it take to genuinely heal differently in this area? And it's not what you think it is. So let's go straight over to Christa and let's pose that question. Why is healing differently when it comes to cancer so challenging?
I'm a naturopath since 30 years, and straight from the beginning I'm involved in cancer for some reason. And cancer for me was at the beginning, I just need a pill, I just need the right supplements, the right medicine, and everything will be fine. And I found out that this is not gonna happen. So many people, they took all the advices, they took all the pills and everything that was needed that I got told from my teachers, and they didn't make it. Some of them just didn't make it. And I saw under the microscope that whenever these clients came, they have been under immense stress to follow the protocol, the diet, the medicine, 3 times a day, before eating, after eating. So they have been kept in a stress phase, in a survival mode, that at the end of the day, that didn't help them to survive.
How come clients come, especially to someone like me and some of my practitioners and you as well, and they want to follow a completely energetic path and they don't survive, right? That happens. But some do, that's great as well. And we can turn around and say, oh, I helped this person and that was fantastic. And likewise, how come some clients go to see their medical doctor, their oncologist, and they have bouts of chemotherapy, bouts of radiotherapy, all the surgery in the world, and some of them die. And many of them actually do survive. And so I think what you're pointing to and what you could see was looking under a dark field microscopy. Is that what you were referring to? This fear, what is that real linchpin that it makes someone heal differently?
That's actually the key that I understood the best when I started to suffer from my own experience with breast cancer. That was a breakthrough for me when I finally got what I had to look for and what I had to do on an energetic level. So I give you an example. What is the real healer? So the moment someone gets into a challenging time, right? So they start with the survival mode, sympathetic mode, we call it, with the nerve system is really focused on survival. And that moment is when people, they can't listen, they can't see properly, they can't see 360 degrees around because they are in this mode, and they have fear. They start with fear, which is normal. Everybody would have it with the label, of cancer on the forehead. But then when it comes down to make a decision which way to go, if the decision is 100% clear, it's really helping them to survive. If someone says, look, I believe in chemotherapy, I can see the doctor is helping me a lot, I have a lot of support, I got a lot of nurturing, if I go for chemotherapy, I will survive. If this is 100% congruent, then they will survive. But if they go to chemotherapy and at the same time they are under tension and stress because they think, I really believe in nature and I really believe in something natural and I believe in strengthening the immune system, then there is a huge gap between what they believe is healthy and what they are doing. That's the real healer. The moment they are in peace, the moment they say, this is it, I trust the way I'm going, that's their own self-healing that's coming through in that moment.
It really does boil down to one's inner core beliefs, doesn't it? So on that note, let's actually just ask another important question. How come you're involved in all of this? I mean, you talked about being a naturopath and falling into it about 30 years ago. You also talked about your own personal journey. So could you share a little bit of information about that?
Yeah, so when I started as a naturopath, I came out of the IT profession. So it was a funny thing. A friend asked me to come and join her with the naturopathy. And I said, okay, I'll give it a go. So I did it. And straight from the beginning, I couldn't understand everything very well. I always had open questions, and I questioned and I questioned and I questioned, and always I wanted to know what is the real cause, the cause. I couldn't see the cause. In all the teachings, they told us this is the symptom and this is the pill, or this is the symptom and this is the point you have to put a needle in. I was very curious, and then I got in touch with a homeopath, and because we published a book together about process-orientated cancer therapy, people came and found us. They found us because we digged a little bit deeper, and because we had these many cancer clients coming to see us. They saw us as a straw, at the end of their journey most of the time when nothing worked. They saw and came to see us, and out of the blue, I was in the middle of the whole cancer area, and so we treated a lot of people, helped a lot of people, lost a lot of people. And at the beginning, it was very difficult for me because I took responsibility for their lives, and I was very sad if we lost someone, and I was digging more. Why did I lose them? Why couldn't I help them to go through? And I had to admit to that. And so this is why I dig deeper and deeper and deeper and investigated, made my notes. And then out of the blue in 2006, end of 2006, I got my own conflict shock that happened in a second. I knew it happened because I was in this area already for 10 years. So I knew this happened. And so I knew I had to get out of this stress phase. So what I started to do, I recognized what I'm doing. I recognized how my mind was working. I recognized how I was in this survival mode. And at the same time, I knew I had to go out of that part.
So what really does switch on a cancer? Well, it's a eudaimonia moment, which is a shock. And it's this eudaimonia moment and survival, and us thinking about our survival, that is the key. So imagine a couple that have been happily married for 30 years, children, grandchildren, and then one day the husband walks in and he says, darling, I've got something to tell you. I've been sleeping with your best friend for the past 6 months. That's one of those pesky eudaimonia moments. So eudaimonia moment is something that's unexpected, dramatic, isolating, and where we have no strategy. Unexpected and dramatic, 30 years of marriage and no idea this is going to happen, is a good example of that. Isolating because she can't even speak to her best friends or other friends because they probably knew something was going on, but she doesn't want to embarrass them. And no strategy. She's not going to say, oh, that's okay, darling. You have a nice life. I'm logging onto a dating website right now. That's not going to happen, is it? So what switches on a cancer is during the eudaimonia moment, the person says or thinks, I can't survive this. I can't live without them. This is worse than death. This survival fear combined with the Yuda moment is what switches on a Cancer.
And this is when I started with meditation. Anytime my mind took me away in fear, I was sitting down, put my clock on for 10 minutes and did just breathing and meditating and was singing to a mantra to stop my overactive survival mode mind. And that took me over a week. I was isolated. I couldn't talk about this event with people, because I thought people don't understand me. And after 1 week, I recognized the switch again. So that was why I then started to have a look into how can I help my clients to get into this switch.
And I think that leads us beautifully on to the next question. So what are you doing then? And you've explained some of that. What are you doing then now, having 30 years of experience, all this other information that you've taken on board? And trust me, I'll just share this. I keep hearing that Christa's done this and this technique, and she's learned this, and she's done this and this, and applies this, and I mean, I can't keep up. So I know Christa is just not well trained. She's beyond well trained. And also, just to explain as well that naturopaths and health practitioners in Germany are regarded on the same level as medical doctors. What are you doing that's different now?
As a health practitioner or health professional, because you are not always successful, you go and you learn more and more and more therapies. We are looking for the holy grail that just gives you the miracle pill and everything is done. And then at one stage you understand this is not happening. And this was the case when I experienced my own cancer experience. And then I knew, wow, I need to go back to a very simple approach. So the first thing that I do is to find out what is the tension, what is the stress in making a decision, and how can I help these clients to go away with less stress. So with, this is what I'm going to do and everything is fine. This is what it has to activate in the mind. This is what I'm looking for in the client. So, and then I make sure that the body is able to get into this, what we call in the meditative state. So I use my techniques to help them to find these little gaps in between, stepping out of the survival mode. So breathing is something, meditating is something. Today I use even a special modality called Q-Spa, where I'm able to help the brain waves to go lower so that the survival mode, the sympathetic state, stops. And then I'm just the guide to keep this state of what I'm going to do is okay, and I will make it through. And the next step I'm doing is I help the client to make this shift, to be brave enough to try something new in their life.
How do you specifically address this? And I'd love you to talk about the Delta scan, the Q-Spa, Clarity 8, the Calibrate, and all the other things that we've been talking about, which are really, really powerful interventions.
When a client with fear survival mode is coming to a therapist, and the therapist and the client together are fighting against something, then the client is in fear and the therapist is in fear. The moment we as practitioners are totally in peace and not scared about any outcome, then we give that to the client as well. And most health practitioners, they don't know what they do. They still are in fear. Do I have the right remedy so that the client survives? So what I do, I use the Delta scan, which is actually a non-linear system. And the non-linear system is able to look in my energy field. We have an energy field around us like a toroid. And this energy field carries all the pictures, the informations from our ancestors down 7 generations. And then I have a real overview from the delta scan on an energetic level, from the gene level down to every single element in my body, every organ, every cell. And then I know exactly where the body is out of balance. So then the next step, of course, is to find out, okay, if we go that way, are you in peace with that? Are you 100% happy to go this way? Is this your longing? Is this your wish? Is this the way you want to go and you feel 100% confident? That's the second step. And the third step is very important for me as well. The genes activated to detox. And if we don't have our basic building blocks, which is minerals and trace elements, water, sunlight, and ionized air, that's the basic blocks. If this is in place, then we can develop our own life pathway. And then everything goes back into harmony and we start a new level of our pathway. I'm using nutrigenetics and nutrigenomics, that is nutrition that helps the body to activate the genes to be able to detox. If we don't have the glutathione, for example, which is able to make heavy metals water soluble so that it can leave the body, then I'm lost. Then I'm in a situation where I can work with my clients, but the resources are not there. So that is my part. The building blocks are in place. The client feels confident with what he does because he heals himself. It's not me, it's the client who does the job. I make sure there is not fear behind, but confidence. And I help with the QSPA with this brainwave activation where we balance it, that the trauma can be solved and the client can start his new level of living.
This isn't something that you just came up with overnight. This is 30 years of work, or 30 plus years of work, and also having been through a horrendous situation yourself. Are there any other things that people might need to know?
Yeah, the Delta scan, I came across Delta scan, I think that's already 15 years now, something like it. It's developed by the Russians to monitor and to get into the frequency, to see which frequency is out of balance. Let's say our whole body is an orchestra, and the orchestra normally plays together a nice piece of music, right? Every single person has its own composition, its own orchestra. So now the Delta scan is checking my piece of music, is checking all the frequencies in my body, and to see where is there an instrument that are playing the wrong notes. So we check the frequency and we bring the frequency back into harmony. That's what Delta scan does, because we need to see everything is energy, which is information, and everything is frequency.
And let me just explain to people how the Delta scan can be done. This is how it works. It works on frequency. And if people don't understand the whole energetic stuff, I fully understand, okay? But it works. Let me just share that with you. And also it's a Russian device, and the Russians have been doing stuff that's completely out there for many, many years. Can you just give us a couple of examples of how you've been able to use the Delta scan effectively with some clients?
Fibromyalgia, for example. So we can address all the inflammation and the frequency that's out of balance in that area. With breast cancer, we can see where in the area the cells are out of balance and not longer communicating. We can see that I have a client with bulimia, and we could reorganize her whole system, and she was able to get back into good health and in a good body shape. So everything, the moment someone is open for a change, for for a new lifestyle, for adjust what was stuck in a hamster wheel that brought them out of balance, I can address, and then they go ahead and to the next level of what they then have to face. Okay, life is not a boring one level energy field. Life is an up and down and up and down. But if we are back in rhythm, if we are in this rhythm of life, we stay healthy. If we stuck either here or down with depression, or in the middle where we don't try to live life, that's when we get in imbalance, and life is pushing us to make a move forward, to go a step further.
Really, we need to conclude there. Thank you so much for being here. I'm just going to tell people how they can contact you. You can come to richardflook.com, and if you want to heal yourself, then hit the button Heal You and fill in the information, and we will put you in touch with Christa. We'll tell you all about what she does and charges and other things like that. And also, if you want to heal yourself and you want to get a little bit of information about the Delta scan, you can go to the shop. We have some deals now and again. Go to the shop and look at the Delta scan, and from the Delta scan, what you can actually do is she will actually do a Delta scan on you and give you the information, and then you have a conversation with me, and we just share a little bit of that information. It is not a session, it's just to look at where you are and where you need to go. So if you're looking to heal others, we haven't yet put all this information together, but you can go to richardflook.com, hit Heal Others, and you'll have a conversation with me, and we look at clearing the underlying stress behind that, behind disease. Plus, we can look at that overall fear. And I know that Christa's work is so valuable. When I can, I will get her to do a bigger training on all her techniques and whatever else that she's using, so that we can actually spread this information to a greater level. So on that note, I really want to thank Christa. Thank you for your time. Christa's in Australia, I'm in Canada, so it's difficult to get the two of us together, especially at this time with the studio, isn't it? So thank you very, very much, Christa.
Thanks a lot, Richard, for having me, and have a good day.